Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Menorah Lighting at Town Hall. I want to welcome you all and wish you all a happy Hanukkah. And we want to thank you all for braving the cold and the wind. Rabbi said it's mandatory that everybody shows up, so I see everybody's here. So, Rabbi, nice job as always. I'd like to first say thank you to our special host, our honor tonight, Rabbi Mendel Feldin. Rabbi, thank you. I'd also like to say thank you to Rabbi's wife, Barker. Barker, thank you for being here, and your family as well. And the Shabbat Mid-Suffolk community, we're most grateful to you for your partnership, your prayers, and your message of unity through the years. You've been very important and instrumental to us here in Smithtown, so thank you for that on behalf of all of us. Go ahead, give the Rabbi a hand. He's a great man. So, few acknowledgments. We have Rabbi Mendel Feldin here, Shabbat Mid-Suffolk, Rocket Feldin, a Festival of Light sponsor, Soderman, Balin, Adler, and Hyman LLP, Greater Comac Chamber, brand new chamber that gentlemen are up here that just got started. We also have our Smithtown Chamber of Commerce, Total Networking and Consulting, Zahara Friedman. Her commitment was wonderful to this event this evening. Councilman Tom McCarthy, Councilwoman Lynn Nowick, Councilman Lisa Inzarello, Councilman Tom Lohman up here, Tax Receiver Deanna Riccio, Superintendent of Highways Robert Murphy, Senator Mario Matara. I don't know if the Senator's here. Smithtown Chamber of Commerce, as I mentioned, Kings Park Chamber of Commerce. Also with us up here, we have our partners in the Smithtown School District. Thank you, School District, for being here with us. We have our Unity Council, Smithtown Unity Council here. We have Legislator Leslie Kennedy. We have our Controller John Kennedy. We have our County Clerk Ben Pulio, and we also have 4th Precinct Inspector Regina. Thank you very much, Inspector, for everything you do, keeping us safe. So special thanks to, number one, my special assistant who sets these events up consistently, Nicole Gargiulo. Nicole, thank you for everything you do for us. Special thanks to our Department of Parks, Buildings and Grounds, Joe Rico and his staff for setting up tonight's Festival of Lights. Special thanks to the Smithtown Fire Department for tonight's guilt. Thank you to Public Safety, our Public Safety Officer here. Thank you, gentlemen. You're always here for us. And our GTV for producing tonight's ceremony. This will be live. Everyone will be able to watch it on TV, on YouTube. So while we're here getting going, enjoy some donuts and latkes, enjoy the music. So just a message from me here. The ceremony is always such a memorable one. Much thanks to Rabbi Mendel Feldin, who always inspires unity, hope, and love for our neighbors, using his natural gift of wisdom, and if you know him, humor, and that's a big part of what he does. This year, the fortitude and the sentiment for coming together really hits us all in a way that bonds us regardless of what holiday we celebrate or the faith that we practice. This year's celebration is a commitment to our family, friends, and neighbors. It is a promise as we stand side by side to extinguish anti-Semitism as we light the night sky tonight, and we hope for peace both abroad and here at home. Yes. Yes. I would like to call up our evening's Festival of Lights sponsors to the stand with the rabbi and all of us here representing them with some checks that will go to the rabbi, and they'll go for donations to Shabbat Mid-Suffolk, donations for medical supplies to the Israeli Red Cross. And our sponsors are up here tonight. We want to present the rabbi with these checks. Anyone else who would like to in the future donate, you can donate by calling Shabbat Mid-Suffolk, or you can call my office here in Town Hall, and we will read those checks. So it's very important that we fund what's going on in the Mideast and Israel so that we can help these folks out. So to produce these checks to the rabbi, we have representing Soderman, Balin, Adler, and Hyman, we have Rebecca Sklar. She is here with us up on the podium, and we also have Tom Morrissey from the Greater Chamber of Commerce, and we have Chris McNamara with him, and they are going to present Rabbi with some checks, I believe, correct?
Thank you, Rabbi. We're here at the Comac Chamber as well as everyone else. I want to thank you for having us tonight and supporting Israel. In the U.S. Air Force, when I was there in 1991 during Desert Storm, we supported you then, and we will always support Israel. Thank you so much, Rabbi.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you very much, Chris. Thank you, Rebecca. Without further ado, now that we have checks in hand, Rabbi, I want to introduce my dear friend and a real partner in our town government. He's always praying for us, and we certainly appreciate it. Rabbi Mendel Telden. Rabbi.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's an honor, and I am humbled by the response, not only by the Jewish community. I know many here are not Jewish. We will have a circumcision ceremony afterwards for those that would like to join, free of charge. No, there's no. Keep the tip. Keep the tip. We thank you, and the support from the Jewish community, or to the Jewish community, means a lot. And our long history has taught us that those that step up to the plate, those are true leaders. Those that remain silent, we all suffer from those that remain silent. So thank you for stepping up. I want to share a brief thought. So 2 weeks ago, I was in Israel. I represented the community, the Smithtown community, the broader Comac Chabad community, and I went to Israel for 8 days to visit the front lines. We visited the IDF cemetery, Har Herzl, and the fresh graves of 19, 20-year-old boys that were literally killed in their homes, trying to defend their families. We went to the homes of the, not even the homes, the evacuees that were 200,000 people living on the front lines were evacuated and moved to central Israel, where they're living in hotels for over 2 months now. We went to visit the families of the hostages. We went to visit the soldiers in the hospital, the amputees, and we visited the first responders. And I think that was one of the most difficult times of the entire 8 days of visiting Israel. Was visiting the first responders, and specifically the ambulance corps. And we heard the stories of those that really ran into fire, ran into RPGs, ran into gunshots, ran into grenades, and they're not trained military individuals. These are medics. These are people that are trained to save lives. These are people that are trained to heal. And as we heard one story of a woman, Hadash, she shared with us that she wakes up October 7th in the morning, her phone is buzzing, and you know, it's a Saturday morning, she wasn't paying that much attention, but after a few minutes, she grabbed her phone and she saw what was happening, and she jumped in her ambulance. She started driving towards Be'eri, which was really ground zero in the south. And she describes how there was a military blockade. They weren't letting people go in. They weren't letting people to go past a certain point because it was an active war zone, and there were thousands of terrorists just indiscriminately just shooting at anything that was moving. And she's 24, 25. She was not in the military. Her civil service was part of the medical Magen David Adom as a medic. But she knew there's people dying, and she knew there were people that were desperately waiting. So she calls her dispatcher, and she says she's going in. And the dispatcher says, it is illegal for you to go in. We don't have backup. You're going into a war zone. And protocol says you have to stay safe yourself, and you can't help someone else if you're not safe yourself. So she says, don't worry, I have a couple of, in Hebrew, in the Israeli terminology, Navy SEALs in my ambulance. And we're going in together, they'll protect us. And the dispatcher says with disbelief, says, you have the Navy SEALs in your ambulance? Says, yeah, I picked them up on the way and we're going in. Now she looks at us, she says, there's no Navy SEALs in my ambulance. There was no one there, and the military was still trying to figure out the response. It was 9:30 in the morning, a couple hours after the whole war started, after the terrorist action began. But she says that's what we do. We go forward, we go into any situation it is to help someone out, because we value life, we celebrate life, and if there's someone that needs help, we go towards the fire to be able to do it. So, you know, there's nothing really to say when you encounter someone like that. There's nothing really to respond, and you go and you say thank you, and you give a hug, and you just say thank you. So we came from America to say thank you, and we appreciate your efforts. And while we're not on the front lines, it's not something that we're called upon to do, but we are humbled before those that actually go ahead and do it. So I thank you for your donations. I thank you for your support. And a month and a half ago, it was there when we, thank God, raised money to buy 3 motorcycles, 3 medical motorcycles that we donated to Magen David Adom. And those, literally saving lives. And I want to connect it with Hanukkah because we're familiar with the story of Hanukkah. The Maccabees were a small group of people. The Maccabees saw that there was something wrong, and they had values, and they had something that they were standing up for Judaism, for God, for a moral and ethical life. And while the Greeks, while the ruling power literally tried to take their life and fought against them, the Maccabees stood up and says, this is something that we will do because it's something we believe in. And as we light the menorah, it's really something that each one of us are called upon to do. Each one of us step up to the plate and become a Maccabee. Thank God, in Smithtown we're not asked to go into fire. Thank God we're not asked to risk our life. Thank God we're not asked to look an RPG in the eyes and say, I'm going to go ahead anyways. But in Smithtown we are asked to step up to the plate, and even when there's opposition, and when even there is values that oppose our own, and there's people that will shout us down, a Maccabee steps up to the plate and says, it might not make sense, it might be inconvenient, I might lose a friend or 20 on it in the process, but a Maccabee steps up to the plate and says, this is the right thing to do, and I will keep doing it, even at some, maybe even significant loss of my own. Maybe even being that guy who stands up and says something. Maybe even being that person who will turn around to someone in line and comment. But that's what a Maccabee does. And that's what's called upon us, and that's what we take away from those, the ambulance corps in Israel. That under fire, they stepped out, and they made a difference, and her name is Hadass, and I'd like to just mention her name today, that a true hero, a true modern-day Maccabee. And she asked of all of us that when we go back, our group was from America, from Australia, she says, when you go back, tell the story, not her story, but tell the story of those people that stood up in the face of tremendous opposition, tremendous odds, and we know what the right thing, and sometimes we just need that extra push to be today's Maccabee. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Rabbi. Now we will move over and we will light the menorah. So come on over this way and join us.
I want to add one more thing. You know, the tradition is on our own menorah, and God bless, we shall go back to our own homes and light our own menorahs. So when we light the middle candle, the shamash, the helper, we don't make a blessing, or we only make a blessing on the other lights. And the idea behind that is that many times the shamash, the helper candle, no blessing is made. And I want to thank the supervisor, law enforcement, government, and all people in leadership positions. So many times when we are called on to lead, there is no blessing to be made because no one says thank you. It's a harsh reality of living in this world that when you're in a leadership position, usually you get the opposite of a blessing. Usually people don't have kind things to say to you. So there's no blessing made on the helper candle up here. Only on for the regular people here do we make blessings. But with the shamash, the leader, we raise them above the rest of the candles out of appreciation and acknowledgement. So Ed, to yourself, to all others in leadership positions, to law enforcement, David, to government officials and everyone else. And I mention them because we kind of have higher expectations of them. Superintendent, Mark, where are you? Raise your hand. There you go. We have a higher expectation of our leadership, but in truth, we all are leaders. In truth, we all have followers. In truth, each one of us are influencers. And the menorah reminds us that when we're in that influence position, it's hard. It's hard. But we do it because it's the right thing to do, and we are here to shine lights around us. And I know Smithtown is going through an internal conversation, if I may frame it that way. Certain episodes happening in the district, certain episodes happening throughout town, and there's different approaches. There's law enforcement, and there's the administration, and there's the school district, that the response is to take the legal process, and the response is to do what is appropriate to minimize any negativity in the town. But as we stand here, it's dark. We stand here, the menorah is unlit. As we stand here, we're reminded that the best way to fight darkness is through lighting a candle. And each one of us is a candle. Each one of us is a source of light. And each one of us have our corner of the world that we have an obligation and a privilege and a responsibility and an opportunity to bring light to it. And while those that have an obligation, a responsibility to fight darkness, God bless them, that's their role, that's their job. But for the rest of us, we counter darkness with light. We don't fight it, we don't engage with it, we don't interact with it, we just be a source of light, and automatically, as we'll see momentarily, the darkness disappears. And what yesterday, we lit 4 candles, that's not enough for today. Today we'll light a 5th candle. Well, yesterday was good, today is not good enough. And all of us will increase more and more lights until, God willing, very soon, there will be no darkness and the world will be filled with a godly light. We'll say the blessings together, and I encourage you all to go home and light a menorah again in your own home, by yourself, Jew, non-Jew. Non-Jews are welcome as well in support of the Jewish community. Please sing along. And as I say every year, I am not a cantor, so if I miss a couple notes, please forgive me. Baruch atah Hashem, Elokeinu melech haolam, asher kidishanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner Chanukah. Baruch atah Hashem, Elokeinu melech haolam, she'asa nisim lavoseinu, bayamim hahem bizman hazeh. Ma'osor Yeshuati Lechana Elishabeach Tikon Beit Tefilati Misham Todan Izabeach V'yeistachin Madbeach V'tzar Hamnabeach Chazegmar B'shir Mizmar Chanukat HaMizbeach Chazegmar B'shir Mizmar Chanukat HaMizbeach. A happy Hanukkah to everybody. Thank you to the supervisor. Thank you to the entire school district. Thank you to the entire town. Thank you to the 4th Precinct. Thank you to the fire department. Thank you, of course, to Nicole and everyone else that took part. Please have some latkes, some donuts, some Hanukkah gelt, some goodies. Thank you, a happy Hanukkah.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you very much, and thank you, everyone, for attending. Happy Hanukkah, everybody.